Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and as usual with me on the show is my colleague.
Hi, good evening. How are you? I'm Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus, bringing you 5.8G Alive. Jen, how are you?
I am doing great, I'm just happy, we have a holiday, Republic, and it's just time again to enjoy. When you're retired or when you're home, Terry-Ann, you forget about these. Many times you might forget this as a public holiday, but because of all activities, that's happening around, you tend to say, okay, you should do something different. But for me, I don't plan to do anything on this holiday, but just relax and see about my plants.
No, I am pumped for Republic. I think that's how great things are happening for Trinidad and Tobago. Happy Republic Day, Trinidad and Tobago. I think we've been doing well this last 2 weeks in the field of sports.
Oh, yes.
I always say that our sports, our culture, our arts, the economy can do all kinds of stuff, but this is the area that we don't focus on. I think it's because it connects to people, and as a population on the whole, we don't like to see resources going to people. I think we always like to measure nearly when things go to people, but huge congratulations to Kishon Walcott on achieving the gold at the World Championships in the javelin with that record throw of over 88 meters. It's been 13 years since he went on a podium and people say all kind of things, but perseverance and persistence. And then we had Kareem Richards with the 400-meter silver medal, and he's a 4 and a 2, and this year he said he wants to go for the 4 in the Olympics, and I think this was so great. Last year he won no medals, but he's been working consistently. And then I'm sure on Sunday everybody was watching cricket, where curry overcame chicken curry. And our champions of that team, Pollard, Pura, and of course, Coach Darren Bravo. I think that's a great Republic Day gift to our country while we prepare for our catch-tail budget. So I think we are off to a good week, and I hope that everyone, as you are winding down your Republic Day afternoon and your holiday, that joy is infiltrating your heart, that out of this tiny population of 1.4 million, we have so many champions. Champions, so whatever stress we have, we could just ease it up for this Republic Day. So I am good. I'm good. And also there's back again to arts and culture, Jennifer. The in our theater this week, I went to the performance by the National Symphony Orchestra and the musical director Roger Henry. They did an entire concert series, classical style, using just our local composers and writers. It was so beautiful. It was so lovely. So it seems as though the whole area of sport and culture, which I think really defines a people, have come to the fore for Republic, and it's like a flower opening and blossoming. I feel that way. And then
Yeah,
later tonight it's moon on a rainbow shawl. So I think we are having a
we really have a
Republic
lot
Day.
to celebrate. We always, acknowledge that we do have a lot of talent in Trinidad and Tobago. Our people are very talented, very skilled. We are a joyful group of people. In spite of whatever may be happening,
In
something
spite of
always
our
comes
politics,
up.
in spite of our
Yeah,
politics, we are
something
talented
always
and we
comes
super
up for
fine.
us to celebrate, in
Yeah.
addition to the public holidays. But we have all these wins that we can celebrate.
Yeah, definitely. So I really hope that everyone has had a wonderful, wonderful Republic Day holiday and have been enjoying the last 2 weeks where all these fantastic Trinidad Tobagonians have represented us so well on the stage of arts and culture. And
Yeah.
and we continue to. So I feel good. I feel really good. Nice, nice. So, Jennifer, how does all that translate into what we're talking about this week? I mean, well, first, we have to say that our discussion last week really hit nerves. I mean, people say that, oh, you're talking about when we started the discussion, why are you all talking about 80s and 90s and like what preparation needs to be made and all those kinds of stuff? But we've gotten some fantastic feedback based on those discussions, haven't we?
Definitely. And that's why I thought it would be, great for us to chat on that, and based on the feedback we have gotten, and discuss whatever the fears or the concerns or the insecurities that were mentioned, that we are sure with a discussion on it, and we may be able to shine some light, you know. And there's always, as they say, a rainbow at the end of the tunnel, So in this case, even if our tunnel is not that long, definitely we will have rainbows in this tunnel. And by tunnel, I will refer to on our journey, that there's definitely a lot of light, that we can shine and be happy on this journey.
Definitely. So let's go in tune and let's talk some more about making sure that there are no clouds and showers, but there is sunlight and happiness and joy. Forget the fear nonsense. Come on, let's be enthusiastic about continuing in this phenomenal thing called life. Great.
Terry Ann, based on the concerns, as we said before, I thought of us being more self-assured, as we go along, because we tend to be fearful of stepping out of our comfort zone. It's normally said that, no one wants to be uncomfortable, but it is a requirement if we want to move forward. So I would say, I would call this discussion more about confident living and being self-assured on the third act stage. And I want to open the discussion, start the discussion with one particular area that came up in terms of a concern, and that is, and you spoke about it in the last show, actually, we touched on it. It's about us not being happy with where we are and not seeing that there is a solution to moving forward, and tend to say, well, okay, why look at that now? Just let things flow. And so I want to address that part and to see why, for us to look at why that may be the case, why so many of us feel that somewhere along the line we didn't do a good job. We may have dropped the ball, as they say, and then there's nothing else that can be done, especially moving into your 80s. So I would like to start the discussion with
So,
that aspect.
mhm. I I'm laughing because I'm almost very uncharacteristic of me. I'm reluctant to give my opinion about this because it may come across as brash, insensitive. But honestly, being true to myself, I listen to people's responses and I listen to how many of us talk about our lives and our lives going forward. I listen to how so many of us are approaching our senior years. The 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so few are approaching with joy. So few. So many people are approaching with, as you said the word, fear, anxiety, concern. The average is not optimism, confidence, relaxation, happiness. And I don't consider, I don't look to the future with any fear at all. I don't look to the future with anxiety. I don't look to the future with any kind of worry. I look to forward with excitement, as I said in our last show, that, I'm looking forward, but I have my stick and a pen over because, hey, let's see what's coming forward. And when we were prepping for the show, you looked at the issues of self-confidence and self-assurance and
Yeah.
the comparison of the two. And I believe that the key to a lot of the pessimism that a lot of people, the pessimism and fear, the fall back to the negative, the oh gosh, the oh gum, the if not, what not, and the constant comparison to what is my life compared to that other person and this other person, could be found in the definition of the two. Because when we look, we talk about confidence. Self-confidence tends to refer to things that you can do, based on some experience that you have, some skill that you have, so that, if it is about this, I can be confident. And that's why confidence doesn't always transfer, because once you come out of something that you have a past record of being able to do,
Yeah.
you lose confidence. So self-confidence is particular to a skill, a time, a place. And I believe that a lot of us, because on the second act stage, whatever we did, whether it was work, whether it was homemaking, whether it was raising our children to become huge successes academically, socially, or whatever it is, our confidence came from that. But now that we are on the third act stage, those things, times, places have gone, and the basis for confidence gone with it. And as a result, a lot of us, because we don't have those second act positions and crutches, we've lost confidence, and we do what we do. We have nothing to compare ourselves against to say, well, look at my child versus her child. Look at my job versus your job. Look at my house versus your house. That game is over. It's not necessary. And we lose confidence. But there is something else called self-assurance, which
Yeah.
does not depend on anything external. It depends on you. And it is really a belief in self. a belief in your worth, what you are capable of, your circumstances. So you might be in the depths of tragedy, but because you know you are resilient, you know that you are creative, you know you are capable, you could find your way out of something. So it doesn't have to swamp you and totally crack you. But I think it appears that many of us may not have had the opportunity for our confidence in specific skills to translate to internal assurance. And therefore, now that those contexts where we were confident have passed, you are looking to the future where it is different, but the self assurance is not ingrained in you. And fear, anxiety, you're now doing more comparisons. Your house versus my house, your perceived bank account balance versus my known bank account balance, your children versus my children, your car versus my car, your appearance, how you dress versus how I dress. We continue in that external referencing, and I think that's a losing game. And that's where I think a lot of the anxiety and fear about the future is coming, and why people are avoiding talking about preparing for the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And I know a lot of people stripsing at me right now, but that's what I feel.
No, Tarian, a doubt is stripsing. I think it happens to them right now. You have them thinking, because there is. I'm happy that you spoke about. There is a difference and between this being self-confident and being self-assured. But if you merge together, we will really, be able to move on to the stages, whether it's your 60s, 70s, or 80s, with a more, I would say, attitude, because with a better attitude, a more positive attitude. When you look at the self-confidence, especially those who are very successful on that third act stage in the workplace, or still very successful as leaders when it comes to decision making on a broader scale, not for themselves, but for others. And they had that, they got that respect, that admiration that says, yes, you're doing great. Now you reach this, I am seeing a switch. And when you look at the capabilities, I am seeing a difference when you move on off from that to that stage, or from the workplace, or from being that in some cases, whether the breadwinner or the main person making the decisions at home, etc. You have to look at, you have to pull out different type of skills. This is how I look at it, and skills now to manage self, to move away from managing others, making those decisions, and to reach now, say, hey, this is me now. How do I manage myself? And that is where I see the difficulty comes in, and the fear, and certain cases regret. And one case again, or one situation I want to bring forward, and we're using the children. At those days when you're working hard, you send them to school, and everybody, it's a big thing when your children has achieved, especially achieving the way that you wanted them to achieve. And without thinking, when you, we may say boasting, but you're just proud. So you may be letting others know how great your children did. And in doing that, or they're doing right now, in doing that, you sort of elevating yourself in terms of the social status or social strata that you have done well. Look at me, have done well. My children did well. And in telling others that, sometimes we are not very sensitive if the other person you're speaking to, your friend or family member, if their family did not achieve in the way that yours did. Okay, so that was then. Now you're moving on. So let's say 10 years past that in the 50s, 60s, and you're moving on, Tarian. The children have moved on. Your family situation has changed, and now you're almost left exposed, especially in cases where your children may be overseas. You may not be seeing them as often. Some may have disappointed you when you thought they were doing great things in workout, etc., etc. And you find yourself, you could have had all the self-confidence at this time, but this is a different time we're in. What do you say to your friends? What do you say to your family members now that you're alone? You may not be able to keep up the appearances as you did before. It's no longer required. You're past that stage, and that we're talking about confidence living at this stage in life. We have passed that stage. We don't need to boast again. We don't need to talk about the big house or drive the fancy car, because the house might be too big for us now. The car might be too expensive to upkeep. So we have to learn to accept the stage we are at, be honest, and work, be very self-assured. And you describe, very greatly about being self-assured. You have to look at life differently. And Terry and I believe that is when we become very uncomfortable, right? Very uncomfortable. I situation, I just say binge watching. And I was looking at Judge Judy, and they always have these situations, family situations, right? And again, at the end of it, it was about parents being disappointed in a child who brought them to court, etc., etc. And that is where, and the complaint from that son who brought them to court was that he didn't receive their love and attention and etc. And they were quite surprised, because they were saying he always complains about that, and they try their best. And that is one, if I may say, I wouldn't say pet peeve, but a concern, where we believe that being a good mother or parent, you should have showed love in a certain way. You should be hugging and kissing and saying how great your children were, etc., etc. And so those who didn't do that, when situation comes up and they're with a friend who may be boasting or expressing that type of love, you tend to feel inadequate. And that came up in one of in terms of getting feedback about us preparing for that later stage, that we fear that we may not have brought up our children in the way for them now to turn around and support us. And I just want to say here that that's not so. We all did what we thought was best for us and for our families, but we at a different stage now. We should leave that and focus on what can we do now? How can we manage our situations now? What skill or talent or what can we do to change that way of thinking, to change the rhetoric, and to move on a more, as you say, in a self-assured manner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says that, and this is something I would like to persons to really ask themselves if you got it. And I look at my life, And I really don't have many external markers. And in the social context, some people may say that I'm arrogant, or some people may say I'm full of myself. I don't have many external markers, and I tend to be happy for people who have what they want and have their things. I'm very content with the things that I have. And I'm saying this because, Jennifer, whenever we get those situations, I don't see a lot of reflection, honest reflection. It's
Yeah.
always somebody's opinion. The children didn't do. The husband or the wife didn't do. The parents didn't do. The job didn't do. They didn't treat me right after all. Look at what the children doing to me. The language is always passive. It is always about something external to you. I have a very imperfect life, but I am perfectly happy in that perfect life. And the things that are not perfect about my life are circumstances that are outside. Yes, whether it was a decision made 50 years ago, 30 years ago, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out. Okay, I sit and I think about, why did I make that decision then? If it was a good decision then, but circumstances caused the outcome to be different to what I expect.
Yeah.
That's not on me. I look at, all right, how did I adjust to that situation? And you know, the serenity prayer, change the things you can, leave the things you can't, and get the wisdom to know the difference. I think a lot of us need to pay attention to that last part. The things that we are expressing dissatisfaction with, or disappointment in, or fear about, are these things that we have the power to change or not? And do we know the difference? Because sometimes in the complaining and the expressions, you hear a wish to still go back into the days when you had control and you want to make it what you want it to be. But when you had a child, or when you were in a job and had control over the resources, then what you said went, and your say so was the do so. But at this time in life, that is not the situation. So you do not have control over things to change it to your liking. You are dealing now, whether it's with adults or with a fixed income, or with a house that you can't sell because you'll be homeless, but you can't manage. Those are realities we have to decide. Can we fix it or can't we fix it? And this is where I think we have to reflect back on the times that we were confident and we achieved success. And I think sometimes it's important not to look at the evidence of the success, the manifestation of the success. So it is not what degree your child had, or what your address is, or those things are results. But to think back to, what is the process that you went through that allowed you to be persevere, to persist, to be resilient and overcome obstacles and get back up when you get knocked down. What were those characteristics inside of you that allow you to go through all of that? Because if they were inside of you and you did it, and I have to assume that you did it, otherwise you have some fraud going on here. I have to assume that you did it. So if you did it then, the things that allowed you to do it are still within you. And I think we are losing the ability to go within and center ourselves and take joy from what we cause to happen, not what your child sat an exam and did. That's their achievement. Not how much somebody is earning. That's their achievement. It's not yours, you know. But identify the role you played and how you supported to make that happen, and then take those things and figure out how can I apply that to my life now. So when I'm going forward, I cool and I don't have all this fear and anxiety about the future. I think we need to really pull ourselves square, and even if you put a mirror in front of you and have a stern conversation with yourself, who is this who is this person that you've become? You know, ask yourself, where is that other person? Where has he or she gone? And find out, do an interrogation. I think that is required.
Now, Tarian, in those times that when you were very self-confident in your workplace or with your family, etc., in many cases, people had a very vibrant support system around them to help them in terms of the decision making too. Huh? So, for instance, those who are in the workplace, they were within a structured setting. You were expected to do certain things. They did it, they educated themselves, and they were able to move up, even if you weren't in the at a senior level, wherever, whatever position you were in the workplace, you had some sort of support system to help you through. Okay? You're no longer there. Even those who are in business and business was very vibrant, you still had some structure, support system around you. When you move away from there, you no longer have that type of support system. You have to manage you. And many of us, if asked, they can't even explain or acknowledge the type of skills that they used to get through. All I can tell you is, okay, well, you know, I studied, I was able to educate myself, I did this sort of program, and this is why I succeeded. But for them now to say, well, okay, this is really what I use. This is who I really am now. I am someone who can see about myself, make that decision without any support system around me. And that I feel many people within our cohort having that difficulty to really identify their capabilities and knowing that, yes, this is me now on a different stage. I can do it. And this is where the self-assurance comes in, because you have to, it's a mindset you have to have. It's a new attitude to life. And it's an attitude wanted, hey, I can do it. I lived through that. And we're not dwelling, some did very well, some didn't do well. No, we tend to focus too much on what we didn't do well and the goals that we had for this stage that not being materialized or not being achieved. And my thing is, forget that. This is it now. It's not too late for us to retool, because we're retooling in a different way. We're retooling for the stage we're on now. And you mentioned, and I must say, Terry, you've been hard on yourself. Nobody would see you for anything about who you are. And what is happening is that you are self-assured. You're doing what you have to do. You're managing your life as it is now. And in the calls that I received too, you know, and we had been told that a lot. Oh, Jennifer, you okay? You have it made, like you mentioned. They always tell me, because of the situation now. You don't have to worry. You're not lonely. You have your daughter next to you. or you have your grandson next to you. No, that has nothing to do with me managing my life. They're not managing my life. They are not responsible for my happiness and my joy on the stage. I don't even complain. I remembered with my as I always say, I have to say now my wellness journey. And I remember telling my daughter, you know, I have to do X, Y, and Z, and this is happening. And she said, Mommy, you have to remember your age, you know, what you expect. You understand? And it hit me because what did I want? No, I didn't want her to hug and kiss me and say, don't worry, da, 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 da. No. But although I didn't want that, the fact that she said, hey, mommy, look at your age, expect these things. You know, you have to know how to manage it. And I said, yes, she's quite correct. So it is not about who next to you or who could afford to do this. Or no. And we have to stop comparing ourselves with others. This is the life you're in. So somebody may be in a beautiful home with your family that in our perception that they're doing great, you know, they're rich, they're happy. But you could be what you see as being rich. What do you want? When most times when people say rich, they look at the size of the house, the car you're driving, the clothes you're wearing, very materialistic. But are you sure they're very happy or they're happy the way you want to be happy? Because Terry, and how I want to enjoy my life is not how you would want to enjoy your life. But this is me, and this is what I am doing to ensure that I enjoy my life. So I think we have to, it's a lot of letting go, it's a lot of changing mindset and attitude, and forget the judgment, because that is a form of judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the tests that you can do, and it is, what are you doing with your time? Now that you have time, what are you doing with your time? And I think it is now you really have to go inside, and whatever is inside you that gave you that assurance, because the confidence, the activity and the successes and all the busyness of the second act stage could very well have hidden the building assurance in you, because there was a lot to be confident about. But I think when we think about what are you doing with your time now, this is when, and I think it comes out in our creative pursuits. You know, check the hours of your day. What does your morning usually look like? What does your afternoon look like? What does your evening look like? And what does nighttime look like? When I say look like, it's what are you doing? What are you feeling? How are you occupying your time? If you have absolutely nothing to do, now this could be from hobbies. You could be singing, you could be cooking, you could be washing wares, you could be fixing house, you could be doing crafts. Last week we talked to Kathleen, and Kathleen talked about her crochet and her art, and she was gardening, but physically she's, what are you doing? I think when we are not giving, now that we have time to give room for our creativity to grow and to be put out there. I know we have members of the Lydia and Pat Whittle, hello, you know, they sing, they are involved in things. Some people get involved in their church life, they get involved in community groups. You have something going on that, and if something is going on, you mightn't have put this term, the terminology to it, but that is you taking your skills and creating once again. That the fact that you could get up and put yourself forward to be of service, to go and do something, means that the confidence is still there. It means that inside you know you have something to give and you're going out and you're giving it. So there is self-assurance. And if you have the ability to get creative in some way, whether you're singing, you're writing poetry, you're dancing, you're planting, you're doing crochet, you're baking, you're cooking for your family, you're cooking for yourself and you like your food, whatever it is. I think we need to pay more attention to the things that we are doing that is bringing us peace. Let's forget the joy habit that is bringing us peace, that has us at ease, that has us comfortable. And just for a month, just forget what other people doing. Others on the outside can be your measuring stick because they may be going off of residuals that are just there. If they, all right, they may have children around them. It may mean that the children very dependent and can't leave. Your children may have gone on because you raise resilient children. Now, people don't come and harass me. I'm giving an example, all right? You raise resilient children. They are now adults. They live in their own life. They do not have a lot of time to come and spend with you. But you have resilience built into you that you could keep occupied until you see them. Others, the children, they're every day, morning, noon, and night. I'm not saying anything about anybody, but don't compare apples with apples. Don't compare mango with a pawpaw. Make sure that when you are looking at someone else and feeling less than, that you are truly not giving yourself enough credit. Because sometimes when you end up independent versus alone, and as Kathleen said last week, she's alone, she's widowed, but she's not lonely. She has her friends, she has her, and she's not nothing in her conversation said she was dependent on friends. She had all of these things. She had her art, she had her crochet, she had her technology to stay in touch with people. She had the son coming every now and again, but he wasn't a prop in her life. And I think we need to really give ourselves a break and look at what we have achieved, what we have built, the result of our work, and take some pride in that. Write it down on a nice piece of paper and frame it and hang it up somewhere so that we can really face the future with less fear and anxiety as though we have no control over what is to come. And I think that is one of the concerns that I have when I hear people speak. It seems as though they're hopeless or losing hope of what could happen because they're not in control of it. And I don't believe that that is a true statement.
Ariane, I want to add to that in terms of how we project ourselves also. And if we're really being authentic. Some of us at this stage, depending on the age you are to, tend not to, and we covered this before, but I just want to repeat here. You don't want to admit that you're aging. And on the other hand, when you meet others and you in a group or you may be chatting, we have to watch how the complaint and the judgment, So you find, you may hear, you call a friend and they ask how you're going. And the first thing you start with is about how you're feeling in terms of, you don't talk about the good feelings. You don't talk about the good time. You tend to complain about what part of you hurting you, that sort of thing. And we should watch our words in terms of self-talk. And you mentioned write down. It has so many different ways that you can do affirmation to remain positive. We know, and as Terian said, she's not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Let me tell you, we don't expect life to be plain sailing every day, you're smiling, happy, and you're going out. No, this is not what we are seeing at all. But look, really take that time to do affirmations in whatever way you want to do it. Whether you put up a photo of yourself, a photo of a mentor, or however you want to do it to keep you, in that positive mood. And just remember when you are speaking to anyone, look at the positive aspects of it. No? People say, Jennifer, you're always positive, like nothing don't go wrong with you. Hey, it's not that. But for me to keep going and for me to focus, on my life and managing myself, even when in terms of health, you look at the things that working for you. You know how you're going, invite someone, you want to go for a walk, you want to do this, different things. And let me tell you, you have persons out there who enjoy different types of activities. And you invite persons or do the things that bring you that joy. You're not going, I love gardening. I have some friends and coming outside and watching that garden at all. They don't want to hear about going for plants or anything like that. That's okay. You respect what they like and you get someone or you do it yourself for what you like. The other thing I want to add here, because this time too for us is building friendship. We spoke about that before. Not because you don't like to do something. If a friend called me, like Terry Ann mentioned, so she went to the show and all about the music and the classical music. And I have a good friend, oh, that is her thing. And she would call and say, Jennifer, I have tickets, you want to go? My immediate response would be, okay, but if I do that, then when I go in, I like comedy. I think she don't like that. And I say, okay, we will support each other. I will go with you and you go into all your classical, your music things. And you come with me when I want to go to my little comedy, which you find is stupid, you know. But don't dismiss it because it means that they like your company. It's the company they want. And we should look at that and not be selfish if we have to build relationship. It's a give and take in building that relationship. So I just want to point out that because you may also hear someone say, well, I don't like to do that, I'm not doing that. I prefer stay home. Think of if you're building a relationship, think of your friend, they enjoying your company. And when you go out, please stop complaining. Just find, enjoy whatever you go to with that person because that is why they invited you out. So I want to bring that point home too about when you get out there and if you really want to build that relationship and watch what you say and stop the judgment. The judgment makes that other person feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
And if you prefer to stay home, don't complain about it. Say I stayed home and I'm happy. That's your
Yeah.
right too. Because that's the other thing. There are people who
complain, Terry, and that you don't have friends after that. Huh?
no, and that may be your choice. If you recognize that it is your choice, and I think, Jennifer, at the heart of everything, we are sometimes avoiding making decisions. And if you avoid making decisions, making a decision about how your life is to be organized, if you do not make a decision about where you live, how you spend money, how you choose to respond or not respond to people's outreach, how you decide your community is not worth your time and effort. All those decisions that you make result in a certain situation for yourself. When you end up there, just be very conscious of the path you created by the decisions that you made and accept it, be happy with it. Yeah, we have to take ownership of decisions because, Jennifer, we look at life. We often talk about our own lives and things that are going on. And I think a big part of the reason that I'm comfortable calling us both self-assured persons, it is not because everything is as perfect as we would like it to be, but we accept, we understand and accept that as a result of decisions made 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 10 years ago, last week, that we
Yeah.
are where we are. And if this is a consequence that we anticipated, this is a negative consequence, then there's probably a positive that far outweighs it. So what's the point of dwelling on the negative part when there's another positive that came up as a result? So I think a lot of us need to don't or stop taking the easy way out and leaving responsibility outside of ourselves for our happiness. Yes, the children give us heartache. Yes, the spouse gives us heartache. Yes, the economic situation may give us heartache, but there is a lot that we are carrying forward in life that can balance or even outweigh that heartache that we need to focus on.
Yeah, so being self-assured, Terrian, and what we call the confident living is just managing yourself in the way that you want to, and stop, release all the other responsibilities that we've taken on, trying to manage others, allow them to manage themselves. At this stage, everybody now, and especially children where we are now, they're at a stage where they can manage themselves, and many don't want us to manage them. They're happy.
Pushing to do it.
They're happy if we release them and allow them to be their own people. So yes.
So Jen, I hope that this discussion at least has brought a little bit of light to a lot of us, or at least to help you all understand what you see when you see the two of us. For my case, and as Jennifer, you don't see perfect people with perfect lives, but I think I am very sure when I made decisions, why I made the decisions, and if time proved me wrong, I accepted it and I moved on, made another decision. So I don't have to be dragging past hurts with me, past disappointments. And it leaves me very assured. At times I'm confident and at times I'm not. And my assurance helps me to mask those times that I'm not confident very well. So I think that's it. All right. So I think we've done a good tune-up. But Jennifer, something good is happening. So let's go to our tribe and talk about how we can spend some time together. So let's go in tribe.
CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus invites you to a fun time creative picnic on Friday, 3rd October from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Botanical Gardens in Port of Spain. Let's take some time to unwind, have a picnic, and share some fun with friends while we explore our creative sides. Let's enjoy the peaceful and beautiful scenery and reconnect with nature and ourselves, and allow our imaginations to flow as we create personal collages with natural elements. Hey, it's a picnic, so walk with your picnic basket, your blanket, your chair, and let's have fun. When last have you been to the Botanical Gardens and just relaxed? So we would make use of the huts and benches, and we are providing all the materials you would need for our creative exercises. The contribution of $100 goes to material, and you just come and let's have fun. So call Terry Ann at 682-9202 or Jennifer at 685-8834 to let us know if you're interested. Remember, October 3rd at the Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Our fun time creative picnic.
So what's happening? What's happening?
Gosh, we're all excited. Terry Ann, we have decided, and this is Connections 50 Plus, inviting all of you all. We are having a picnic, a garden picnic, a fun time, creative garden picnic. And we decided to have that at the Botanical Gardens. When last you went to the Botanical Gardens? It is still very beautiful. They now have huts, really a nice clean washroom. The paths are clear. It is a beautiful, but always was and still is a beautiful area to picnic. So we are inviting you all. This is on Friday the 3rd, and that is Friday the 3rd of October from 10 a.m. to 1 for us to get together, have fun, picnic, and guess what? We have a very creative aspect of that. We're using all the natural elements. Now we have to come to find out more about it because we have a very, very talented tribe member who will be taking us through that creative project. Yeah? So we are inviting you all. It's $100. That's it. $100. And you come, you just walk with your picnic basket. We will provide everything that is needed for that creative project.
Your picnic basket, your table, your blanket, your chair, whatever you choose to. And for those who by chance don't know where the Botanical Gardens are, and there are people who very well might not know where the Botanical Gardens are, they are just north of the Queen's Park Savannah. Now, if you don't know where the Savannah is, then when you reach into Port of Spain, ask a police officer.
Everybody know where the zoo is.
It's next door to the zoo.
Hopefully. It's within that area.
Yeah. So we would be meeting at the Botanical Gardens, as Jennifer said.
For 10. We meeting for 10.
Great. So we meet for 10 and we spend some time together in nature. We could be as quiet or as noisy, as rambunctious or as peaceful as we want to. And then we have a very, very nice creative exercise, a creative activity that we can do. So this promises to be fun. And it could have in the picnic lots of sharing and so on. So just remember, pack that picnic basket, take a few hours out of your busy day. If it's right in between, so you maybe have to see about the grandchildren, you'll get back in time to see about the grandchildren. You will be able to get into Port of Spain after the traffic. We will leave before the traffic. So it's not going to be a burden on anyone to get there and just spend some time, take a time out, chill out. And as we say, the contribution covers the cost of the creative exercise, but make sure that you bring all the refreshments that you want and all the eats that you'd like to have. So we look forward to that activity. Yes. And Jennifer, should we also indicate there's another save the date that should be coming? We want you to save the date November 23rd because Christmas is coming and we usually do our Christmas get together. So just save the date, November 23rd, and more details will be coming to you soon. Yes. So what else is there, Jennifer?
A lot to look forward to. Invite your friends and you plan. You say, okay, so October, what we doing? We're going on a picnic. And then November, what you doing? It's Christmas time. Yes.
Christmas dinner. Yes. So But come along, let's spend time together. Let's come out. Let's talk face to face, because we always say it's one thing to be talking on this platform, but we need to be able face to face to get feedback, to engage with each other, share our stories, share our moments. And I think in that sharing, we often realize that I'm not the only one, and it's not as bad. And sometimes you share your experience with someone else, and they're able to put it in context for you. Sometimes it's good to step away and listen to another story to just reduce the focus on self sometimes. I think, Jennifer, that's required.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we will be seeing you all on the 3rd. Well, we'll see you next week. And as usual, please drop us a line, send on our WhatsApp chat, our phone numbers, give us some feedback. It's okay. Send the feedback directly to us. We know sometimes we touch on some very, very sensitive topics, and you're right, you may not want to share in a group setting and so on, but we do appreciate when you give us feedback, either directly and personally. You drop us a line, give us a call, or in our WhatsApp group, or talk about what you thought of the show on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. And we know you're listening. We see the stats, you're there, but keeping very quiet. So you can just give feedback generally about what you think about some of the topics that we're covering and whether they give you value or not. Yeah?
Yeah.
So until next week, we hope you continue having a great national holiday week. We have finished, we onto September, so the national period of independence, emancipation is going to be finished. And now we're getting serious things now. Christmas coming. So my time. So see you all until next week. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.